Hey guys, and welcome to my lesson about master pages and content pages in ASP.NET Web Forms. So let's get started. All right. So ASP Web Forms master pages. So they're used as templates to capture the same look and feel of certain sections of the website. They contain HTML tags, head tags, and body tags. And when a user enters a web page that has a master page, it loads the master page first, and then it loads the content page. And we'll go over a content page here in a second. And master pages are great for restricting content or for opening up your content. For example, let's say you have the public facing pages such as a login form, a sign up form, or an about us or contact us form or page. All these would be under one master page. So we'll call this the public master page, right? Where there's no restrictions. And then you have the other side, right? All the things that are tied behind, that are restricted to only allow users who have logged in to see. So you can do this restriction through a master page. You can tell the master page, hey, any content page that is associated with me, only allow the user to view if they have successfully logged in and verified themselves. So that's a good thing about master pages. It's really easy to do that. And another thing about master page is that it has a web control called the content placeholder. So I'll show you guys this in a few minutes. And what the content placeholder does is it holds the space for which the content of your page will be applied. So again, let's use the login page for example. So you have the master page, and then you have the content page. The content page, what happens is gets injected into your master page. So the master page replaces this content placeholder with your actual content page. So I'll show you guys this in a few minutes. So hopefully this will become clear then. But this is just a general idea. Let's go to the next slide. So still on the topic of master pages. So what's good about the master pages is that earlier I said that it creates a same look and feel to all the content pages within it. For the public side, you'll have navigation that stays the same. You'll have in your navigation you'll have something like home. You'll have something like login, where the user can click the link login and it'll take them to the login page, and it'll have like a sign up page, and all of this navigation doesn't change. Just because the content changes, it doesn't mean the navigation changes. And that's because all these content pages are within one master page. And the master page is what holds this navigation, not the content pages. So every time that a user clicks a link, all it does is it keeps replacing it. So I have a better picture that will represent this later. But this is just what a master page kind of looks like. So you have the header, you have the footer, you have the navigation on the left here, or you can have it on the top, wherever. It doesn't matter. And then you have the content page, the content placeholder control, where the content gets injected into it. And so the only thing that changes when you go to a new link, like I said, is just this content block. Everything else stays the same because this is on the master page. The only thing that changes is the content. So now on to content pages. So what content pages are is they work together with the master pages. So as I mentioned earlier, it fills the content placeholder control within the master page, and it replaces it with the content control, with the content page, which has a content control. So it has a content control which specifies which content placeholder on the master page it's going to replace. And so you guys will see when you look at this content control, it has an attribute called content placeholder ID. So this will make sense when we go into the example. So a content page has the extension of .aspx, whereas a master page has the extension of .master. So that's how you guys can know the differences between those two. The content page contains the body of the page, but it doesn't actually contain the tags such as HTML body or head tags. It can contain the same controls that an HTML page does. So it can contain HTML controls, ASP.NET controls, and specific styling or scripts to your content page. And you can also inject stylings and scripts from your content page into your master page, and I'll show an example of that. And the way that content pages are associated to the master pages is using an attribute on the content page called master page file. So, which I will also demonstrate. So here's an example of kind of what happens. So imagine that page 1 is the login page, page 2 is the sign up page, and page 3 is the about me page. And this is the master page, right? So what happens when you're in your navigation, so in your master page you'll have the navigation where it'll point to the login page, the sign up page, and the content page, and you'll have that all here. And what will happen is when you click on the navigation, let's say you click on login, it'll swap out what's ever currently in the content, and it'll bring in the login, and it'll put it here. Now none of this stuff will change because you're still in the same master page. And then let's say that the user clicks on the sign up page. Well, it'll swap the login page that's in here for page 2, which we said is the sign up page, and it'll put page 2 right in here. Same with the about page, with the about me page, or whatever we said this was. So I think that's it for all the slides. I think we can go on to into the demo. All right, so I'm going to open up my Visual Studio here, and I'm going to open up my project. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do here is, and I'm sorry I can't make this bigger, so, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete some of these pages that I'm not going to use. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And I'm just gonna delete. Yes. Okay. Cool. So now I'm going to create a master page from scratch, and I'm going to call it a public master page. And this will be for all the public facing pages on my site. So we will go to add. So we will right click on the project right here. We will hover over add, and we will click new item. So we'll wait a sec here. So now, let me get rid of my video so that you guys can see everything, hopefully. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. Now you can search for it too, but we're going to scroll down. It should be over here. And we're going to look for Web Forms master page. So you'll see here that it says site1.master. We'll just change the name to public, because this is going to be the public facing master page. So public.master, and just click add. And here you'll see that it added the public.master page. And just quickly, if you click on these arrows right here, on this arrow right here, you'll expand it, and you'll see that there's so this public.master is essentially your HTML page. So this is what you will use to put in all your HTML code into. Let me just format this, tab this out, make it look better. And then right underneath it, you'll see public.master.cs. Now this is the code behind. So this is where all of your server-side code would go. And you'll see here that this is that this event happens on the page load. And this is actually a great place to put your restriction into your page. If this was, let's say, you know, your members only section, your members only master page, like where only members can see, users of your website can see that restricted content. So what you would do is you would just restrict that access here. You would say, is this user logged in? Yes or no. If the user isn't logged in and they're trying to view a members only page, then you just redirect them back to a public facing page. So that would be done in the page load, but we're not going to do that here because this is a public facing page. So let's go back to the master page, to the front end of it. So here you will see that there's, you know, an HTML tag, there's a head tag, there's a body tag. You know, inside your head you have the title, and then you'll see here that the head has, you'll see that there's actually two content placeholder controls. You'll see one here in the body, and you'll see one here in the header. What this does is, you'll see in a second that when we create the content page, it'll actually create two content controls. And you'll see here that there's also a form. So whenever a button click happens on your inside your content page, it's actually going to do a post back, and it's going to submit your page information over to the back end, where you're going to be able to process that post back and that button click, for instance. So now that we've kind of gone over the master page, let's create a content page. So we'll go here to the master page, to the front end part of it, and we'll right click, and then we will find add content page. And you'll see here a few things. So first thing to note is that you can specify here the master page file. So now by default, since we right clicked on this master page and we added a content to this master page, it did this for us. So what this is doing is it's saying this content page belongs to public.master, to the public.master page, and this right here just signifies that it's, you know, part of the root path. So that's great. So this is how it knows that it's part of the public master page. And then you'll see here that we have two content controls, 1 and 2, and their IDs is content 1 and content 2. And then you'll notice that they have an attribute called content placeholder ID, and their values are head and content placeholder 1. So if you remember, let's go back to the public.master. You'll see that the ID of this content placeholder is head, and the ID of this content placeholder is content placeholder 1. So let's go back to our web form, and you'll see that it matches. So now what we can do is we can add some content in here. So well, first thing is first, let's just let's do let's name this login, for instance. And then let's right click, add a new content page, and then just name this form sign up. So here we'll go into the master page and we'll say, we'll put something here saying, I am the master page. And then we'll save. And then we'll go to the login page. And we will say in here, I am the login page. And here we'll say, in the sign up page, we'll say, I am the sign up page. So here you'll see what it's going to do is it's going to essentially take this text right here that's within the content 2, and it's going to replace content placeholder 1 in the public.master page. It's going to replace this with that text. And so you'll see. So what you'll want to do, since we deleted those couple of files, you'll want to specify here which content page you want to load first when the website starts. So we will right click on login and we will select set as a startup page. So now we just set login.aspx as our startup page, and we'll just click run. So now it's loading. So here you can see that it loaded the master page and it loaded the login page, the content page as well. And the reason is because you see that both of these are on here. And you can see that on our master page, public.master, you see that I wrote I am the master page. And in the login.aspx, you can see that I wrote I am the login page. Now, let's say that you wanted to add some special style tags or scripts or whatever for this page. Yes, you could do that here. So you could do something like this and then write yourself a script, or you could put it here in the header. And what this will do is it'll just inject, the same way that it did this. It'll replace whatever you put in here. So it'll put this script tag, and it'll replace this right here because it's the head, and the login page, the specific content control is pointing to the head of the master page. So let's just quickly create a navigation here. So we'll say ahref, we'll say take me to the login page, and we'll say take me to the sign up page. So let's make sure that our sign up page has something. Yes. Okay, so here what we created in the master page, we created a very basic navigation. So we're essentially saying here, we're giving it a navigation, and whenever someone clicks on the login page link, what should happen is it should take them to the login page, and it'll show this. And then it should still show, because the login page belongs to this master page, it'll still show this navigation because the master page loads up this navigation. And so then if we click on the sign up link, it'll take us to the sign up page, to the sign up content page, which will load up this text. But because the sign up text page is part of the public master page as well, it'll still load up this navigation. So we're going to be able to switch back and forth between the login page, and you'll see that we only have to code the navigation once, and it will continue to load it up within the same master page, within the same content pages that belong to this master page. So I will go ahead and I'll play to demonstrate this. So here you see it loaded up the navigation, and right now we're on the login page, and you can tell because of this link over here. So let's click sign up page, and you see that the text changed, and we only coded this once. So you don't need to repeat. The cool thing about the master pages is you don't need to repeat navigation, headers and footers and stuff like that, things that repeat throughout, commonalities within pages. You can just code once and put that in your master page. So anyway, so I hope that helped a little bit to understand how master pages and content pages work with ASP.NET Web Forms.